I just finished The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2, and really honestly, Trails of Cold Steel 1 and then 2 back to back over the course of 2 months nearly. I started Cold Steel 1 very late December 2021, and I just finished Cold Steel 2 yesterday. That would be February 16th, 2022. And I have to say that this game and this experience, this story, has taken me on a really unique journey as a fan of JRPGs that no other series has been able to do before. I felt towards the end of Cold Steel 2, as the whole arc revolving Class 7 began to wrap up, this real sense, I mean, more than I ever have before, this genuine sense of sadness, but this genuine sense of really knowing who these characters were and caring about them so very, very much. I think one of the things that they did, and one of the benefits to having these games go literally back to back and be nearly between the two playthroughs, sitting at 150 hours long total, is I spent a lot of time with Class 7 and all of their friends. I was fully invested in living in this world and understanding the lore and trying to figure out exactly what was going on. And it was beautiful at the end of the day. Now, I have some problems with the game overall, and I'll address some of those problems in detail in my Cold Steel 2 review. And I have some problems with the series overall. It's not perfect. In fact, in many respects, it's a very imperfect JRPG. It has some serious pacing issues. Some of the side quests get really, really old, but I just want to live in this world, and I wanted to do anything anyway. Sometimes real life gets a little boring, and so it made sense to me in many regards why some of these tasks would feel somewhat repetitive, because it was, life's not always just adventure all the time. And so, yes, I know with games and gameplay, you want to stick to the highlights. You want to make sure the player's having fun all the time. And I wasn't always having the best fun, but I was always having fun, right? I was always having a really great time with this series. And as I watch people's top 10 JRPGs of all time, top 5s, like I've been doing a lot of that recently and trying to discover why Cold Steel, why the Legend of Heroes series as a whole, where is it in everyone's tops, right? Right now I'm developing on the side my top 10 RPGs of all time. And I can guarantee you, Legend of Heroes Saga, I probably really can't just put one of the games in there. That really wouldn't work. But the entire saga deserves more recognition than it's getting. And I don't personally understand why it's not, other than perhaps because it is so flawed. I think the other thing that probably keeps it from being so successful is the fact that it does have this longevity to it. There's a lot of pressure to play the Sky Trilogy first, and then we didn't even have the Crossbell arc officially localized. Some of that is going to change here pretty soon. We have Trails from Zero coming out, Trails of Azure, or to Azure, I can't remember however they say that. No, all of that is happening. We're getting more Trails games in 2023, and so it's a really big series, and I can understand why people are super intimidated by it. But let me tell you, as somebody who was not playing it because of that intimidation, because I felt this extreme obligation to play the Sky Trilogy first, and that's kind of the general pressure that you get on Reddit and other YouTubers put out, you can start with Cold Steel. You can start with Cold Steel 1 and you are fine. You get every single thing that you need. And personally, I think I'm just gonna go ahead after I take a little break, because I'm a little burnt out on turn-based JRPGs at the moment. I'll take a little bit of a break, and then I'm gonna go ahead and play Cold Steel 3, I'm pretty sure, and 4, and finish up Reen's story and Class 7 story as we know it right now. I fully understand in Cold Steel 3, you get a whole lot of characters from the Crossbell arc. I fully understand in Cold Steel 4 that Estelle and Joshua are there from the first games. I get it, I know. There's already been a reference to Joshua, and so I know it's there. I have a general understanding of what happened in the Crossbell arc from playing through Cold Steel 2, the big thing with the big Azure tree. Now, at the same time, I am absolutely gonna go back once that's officially localized, and I can play it on my PlayStation 4, or my PlayStation 5 in this case, and play all of these games. I'm gonna play all the ones that I possibly can, but I really wanna finish Reen's story. I wanna know what's going on. And I'm just having so much fun with this series. And yes, it's flawed, yes, it's imperfect, but I have just loved it. I love all of the characters. I never thought, normally the uppity, kind of snooty, elitist, nobility style characters in these games I never relate to, but I've come to super appreciate Yusuf Albarea. I think he's an incredible character, and he and Machias's choice to be rivals, even though they're not friends, they're close. They would never call each other friends, but they have each other's backs. Absolutely. They would take a bullet for each other. I'm confident of that. Seeing Milliam, who in Cold Steel 1 was so incredibly annoying, but when we finish Cold Steel 2 and have some of those final conversations with Milliam, watching this young person have really good adult conversations and try to learn to read the room and understand and come to terms with feelings, even the way she's voice acted, the way she talks about it, it's so satisfying because you actually see Milliam begin to grow up, and you see so much character progression as a whole for everyone. And that's part of it. That's how JRPGs work. We're doing that for the story, but they do such a good job at it. And you just love it. You learn to love the characters that you love. You hate the characters that you hate, but you love to hate them. You're glad they're still there, even though you so strongly dislike them. Some of the political conflicts, the betrayal that happens, all of these different pieces just turn into this really awesome story that just has you so fully invested. So I don't know why people aren't into this series as much as I think that they ought to be. It seems like this lost JRPG series that not very many people are into in comparison to the Tales of games or Final Fantasy or anything else. It just seems like anything that Falcom does is on the back burner. You know, I've learned to love Ys in the last few years. Ys 9 Monstrum Nox was my first Ys game, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I have the others on my shelf right behind me. I want to play through all the others, but Falcom does an incredible job, and NIS America has done a really great job of getting it over here. Now, no, Cold Steel 1 and 2 was localized by Xseed and published by Xseed, and so I could have a very different feeling when I get to Cold Steel 3 and 4 and experience what NIS America does, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm really going to enjoy it. And so let me tell you now, I've just rambled about this. I don't even know what I'm going to title this video. I just wanted to get this video out. I love this series. It's flawed. I'm really excited next week when I get my Cold Steel 2 review out to tell you why it's awesome and where all the flaws are and why you should play it and go kind of a deep dive into that. But I just couldn't not make some sort of video gushing about this series and encouraging you. I think it's worth playing. I think for the story alone, it's worth playing. I think for the soundtrack, the soundtrack is amazing. And I can't do the soundtrack justice. Even in my review video of Cold Steel 1, I tried to put some of my top tracks in that, and I'll do the same with Cold Steel 2. This series has some amazing music. It's worth playing for the music. The combat, it's good, solid turn-based JRPG combat. There's a lot of depth to the orbment system, even more so than I even understood. I went to watch some of the Nightmare mode, which is the hardest difficulty in the game. Watching these people who have their skills so perfectly set and their characters so perfectly built that even on the hardest difficulty, they dominate without taking damage. It's pretty incredible to watch. I don't personally care to do that, but wow, I am thinking I'm going to do a little bit more tweaking of my character skills when I go into Cold Steel 3, or when I go back and I play the Crossbell arc and the Sky arc, because I am going to get to those eventually. It's just right now I am so invested in Reen's story that I'll go back and play those as prequels and kind of experience those as they are when I get a chance. So thank you so much for listening to me rant about how much I love these Legend of Heroes series. And if you haven't considered playing these games, try it. Start with Cold Steel 1, play Cold Steel 2, realize that Cold Steel 1 is the first half of an entire game. Cold Steel 1 and Cold Steel 2 are literally a cohesive experience. It really feels like one whole game. If you struggle with some of the combat and some of the harder bosses, just don't hesitate to retry on a weaker enemy. I didn't do that, but make it easy. If you like a great story and you feel like it's a little bit too hard, put it on easier difficulty and just love it. Play the story, play it through, do the quest, get the stuff, experience all of the incredible characters, because I think that's where this series truly shines. They're all amazing in their own way. I have some I like more than others. My party typically had very specific ones, and you'll see that when you watch my Cold Steel 2 review, and who I have with me in combat all the time. Pretty much the same ones, because I liked how they played. If you have not considered playing this series, give it a try. Start with Cold Steel 1, jump in, play Cold Steel 2. After you've done both of those, you've spent 150 hours with these incredible characters. If you don't like it, stop playing. But I suspect you're gonna be thinking, I wanna do it all. So try it. Thank you so much for watching this rant video by me. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. Let me know down in the comments below, how much do you like or dislike the Legend of Heroes series, and we will see you again in the next video.